only one person with an internet show that has decided that it's his job to select the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week for week 5. And we will start with number 10, Klein Collins at Klein. This is a Matt Stepp special. He's really fired up about it, and he's talked me into it too. This is a matchup of unbeatens in District 15 6A. Certainly first place at time at time of recording. We're not recording, we're on the air. Is on the line. This is a huge game. Klein Collins is 4-0. Looked great over the course of their year. They played Magnolia West last week and throttled them 42-0. Braden Scoggin, their quarterback, has been on one. He's been terrific, but really the story of Klein Collins has been their defense. So let's talk about Klein. Klein might be in the running for the wild-ass team of the year because of what Coach Nick Caduti is doing there. This is a team that is averaging nearly 63 points per game. They recovered 5 straight onside kicks last week. 5 consecutive onside kicks. Big offensive line. We know what they do. They run the ball. Edward Kelly, Turbo Jordan, their quarterback Grant Strada has been great. This feels like a huge test for them and proof that, like, I mentioned this on Tep and Step, that there are 2 circles in this Venn diagram, okay? There's fun, and we know Klein is fun, and there's good. How much crossover is there? There's a real test for Klein of where they are against what has been, in my opinion, the flagship program of Klein ISD. Klein Collins, my number 10 game of the week. It's that good of a week, but that's number 10. Number 9, ARP and Troop. I love this game. I think it's going to be fabulous. Another matchup of unbeatens. It's a 7-mile rivalry. We're actually going to talk with the winning head coach on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight tomorrow night. Their defense, the ARP defense has been unbelievable. The number 1 scoring defense in all of 3A Division II. It's the number 11 scoring defense in all of 11-man football. They've allowed just 17 points all season. Going up against this Troop team that I think is really starting to figure out what they do well offensively. Quarterback Josh Childress, running back Brett Wells, their wide receiver D. Holly. They've combined for 21 total touchdowns this year. And the winner of this game, it's still early, right? Week 5. But District 11 3A Division II feels like it might be on the line tonight, or tomorrow night, in Troop America. Out there in East Texas is a mammoth game with lots of ramifications and an opportunity for one of these teams to take a huge step towards a district title, which has been hard to come by. For ARP, they haven't won an outright district title since 2012. Troop has not won an outright district title since 2005. So the winner of this game is going to be in the driver's seat for the District 11 3A Division II crown. Fabulous ball game. I'm fired up about it tomorrow night. Little 3A action in East Texas. Number 8, Dillon and Munster. Munster's kind of brutal non-district schedule continues. And Dillon, we'll talk about Munster here for a moment. They have 2 losses on the year, both to 3A teams. One of them is to, I believe, Winsboro. Is that right? There's no way to know. Who could possibly know? It's not like there's a great website, texasfootball.com, that could tell you. But last week they lost to Pottsboro, a 3A Division I team. So think about that. 2A Division II to 3A Division I. Their other loss is to Holiday, 3A Division II team. And quarterback Kason Carney's been great. Their defense, what's ended up doing them in these games that they have lost to Holiday and to Pottsboro is I think they've just gotten worn down because they're smaller. Because they don't have as many guys. And the defense kind of worn down. The offense has shown up in every one of those games. For Dillon, coming off of this is a 2A Division I team, a really good 2A Division I team, a team we think could be the favorite to win Region 2 of 2A Division I. Lane Crouch, Aiden Salinas, their running backs have been great. Ran for 7 touchdowns last week in their win over Hawley. This is a really interesting kind of test for 2 teams as they head towards district play. One of these teams is going to get a real boost heading into district play. Fabulous ball game, Munster and Dillon. A lot to learn about both these teams. And for Munster, this would be their best win of the year if they could knock off Dillon. And I think that everyone would probably forget about those two losses, which were against much bigger teams. Number 7, Panhandle and Wellington. Speaking of small schools, how about this matchup out there in the Panhandle? And my word here for this game is pointsy, real pointsy. These two teams can light it up offensively. I've made no bones about the fact that Broxton Robinson, the quarterback at Panhandle, is one of my favorite players in the state. He's exciting. Wellington's got a number of ways to beat you. Quarterback Callan Kane, their running back Noah Cantu. Whose defense can step up? Kingston Molina leads what I think is a superior Wellington defense. What's interesting is these two teams know each other really well. That Wellington, they've played each other, I believe, each of the last 13 years. And Wellington leads the series 11-2. But the 2 wins for Panhandle have been the last 2 years. This is also a non-district finale for both these teams. So both these teams want to head into district play on a high. One of them will get to do it. Wellington and Panhandle tomorrow night at Powell Field in Wellington up there in the Panhandle. Figures to be a lot of fun. Yes, Panhandle is in the Panhandle, but Panhandle is not playing in Panhandle. They're playing in a different school in the Panhandle, Wellington, which is in the Panhandle. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Got it. Number 6, Atascocita and C.E. King. So, Atascocita, coming off of their first loss of the year, albeit to a pretty good Austin Westlake team. And I think that, obviously they didn't have Carday Mack, and that, I think, is obviously held them back. They're coming off an open date, and now they open up District 23 6A play, and they go right into the teeth of it. I think C.E. King, they've got the one loss in the year. They lost at Dickinson in week 2 by 1 score. I think C.E. King has reason to believe that they should feel disrespected. Because in District 23 6A, everyone talks about Atascocita. Oh man, Carday Mack, he's been fantastic. Oh, North Shore, of course, they make it all these title games. Summer Creek, they've been established themselves as one of the powers in the Houston area. And C.E. King's just like, what about us? What about us? Corey Laxton, their new coach, I think has got them heading in the right direction. This is a team that can score in bunches. It'll be a big test for an Atascocita defense that has been touched up. I also want to know what the status of Carday Mack is. How healthy is he? Does he play in this ballgame? It's a fascinating game tomorrow night there in Sheldon. Number 5, San Antonio Piper and Smithson Valley. So flashback to a year ago, San Antonio Piper got, I think, the biggest win in their program's young history when they knocked off Smithson Valley. This is a Comal ISD kind of battle. And now, if you remember, Smithson Valley went on to win the state championship, so they don't really care. But for Piper, they have to go on the road and try to duplicate it against one of the best defenses in Texas high school football. Smithson Valley has been terrific. Ty Knutson, their new quarterback, has been great. And really, that front 7 for Smithson Valley is just relentless. Just stinking relentless. That's the challenge for Piper. Piper looking to do it again. The running game is going to have to get going. I think this game is a fabulous ball game, and it's a real test for this Piper attack, going up against one of the best defenses in the San Antonio area, certainly, and maybe in all 5 Division 1. San Antonio Piper and Smithson Valley, which is very quickly, by the way, another district game, very quickly becoming a real, true rivalry, I think has an opportunity to steal the show tomorrow night. Number 4. Waxahachie and DeSoto. We're going to talk with the head coach of the Waxahachie Indians, Shane Tolson, coming up here at the top of the hour. Waxahachie coming off of what feels like a program signature win over Duncanville a week ago. The defense with Jaquan Snell, unbelievable. The offense made plays. Jerry Meyer came up with big plays down the stretch. And everyone's been talking about Waxahachie. We've been talking about Waxahachie. We're going to talk with the Waxahachie head coach. DeSoto had probably the worst 2 weeks start to a DeSoto season in years when they started 0-2 with losses to a team from Georgia, got drilled by a team from Georgia, and then they played North Crowley. Well, they've gotten the wheels back on. An absolute demolition of Corpus Christi Miller and an absolute demolition of Mesquite. Now, those two teams are not as good as North Crowley and the team from Georgia. Waxahachie is a lot closer to the two teams that DeSoto lost to than the two teams that DeSoto beat. But I think DeSoto's figured a lot of things out, especially on the defensive side. And I think they figured out what works for them offensively. Specifically, just give the ball to Sherrod Baker. Where is Waxahachie's head at? Can they make sure that game was not their Super Bowl last week? And is DeSoto capital B back? A lot to learn in this District 11 6A showdown at Eagle Stadium. Number 3, Waco, La Vega, and Stephenville. A game that I think somehow is flying under the radar. La Vega is closing out their brutal non-district slate. Remember, they have a loss to Salina, but other than that, they're 3-0. And last week against Brownwood, they were exceptional. Quarterback Courtney Parr was great. They got a star wide receiver in Jabari Thornton. We know their defense is going to be strong. Well, speaking of looking good, Stephenville looked great in their homecoming win over Abilene Wiley last week. And Trot Jordan, their new quarterback, has been great. Zyler McClendon, their running back, has been a real breakout player for Sterling Doty's squad. And the defense, which we knew was going to be good. They brought back 10 starters from a year ago. The defense held Abilene Wiley just 36-yard rushing on the night. A ton to learn in this one between two teams that have legit state championship aspirations. Can La Vega go on the road and finish out what's been a brutal non-district schedule with what would be a real signature win? It's a huge game in Stephenville. Number 2, Frisco, Panther Creek, and Salina. If you're not into this, we can't be friends. This game rocks. Number 6, Panther Creek against number 1, Salina. Panther Creek has been dominant, although I think they've beaten up on teams that they're just a lot better than. Quarterback Graylin Fry has been great. They've got just dudes, plain simple. They got the Texas Tech commit at safety, Donovan Webb. They've got the Oregon commit and Jalen Lott out wide. This team has got dudes, plain simple. Frontline talent that not a whole lot of teams can match. Well, one of the teams that you could make an argument can match them is a team that they're going and visiting this week in Salina. Because obviously Bo Bentley has been great. They've been excellent. They took down Franklin in a neutral site game last week. This is it's a 20-game winning streak for Salina. Legit in peril here. The question for me is going to be, how does Panther Creek match up front? That's the long and short of it. Because Salina is going to be big and physical and mean up front. We know the dudes they've got on the edges. But what happens in between the tackles? That is where my eyes are going to be on this game. Panther Creek and Salina figures to be spectacular. But it's not our number 1 game of the week this week. No. Number 1, Iowa Colony and Richmond Randall. Why, it just so happens to be our Dave Campbell's Rising game of the week.
Let's go.
You can watch it for free on YouTube and on Texan Live tonight. And look, the District 9-5A Division II title almost certainly on the line. Last year, Iowa Colony went 12-0 against everyone who wasn't named Richmond Randall and went 0-2 against Randall. They're off to a 4-0 start. They're outscoring their opponents by an average of 40 points a game. They have been dominant. Quarterback Carson White. I love their running back Aaron Tenner. It's a defense that averages 3 takeaways a game. They will need that against one of the hottest teams in Texas. Randall, coming off of an absolute demolition of Fort Bend Marshall last week. Landon Williams-Callis, what can be said about him? There's a great story on TexasFootball.com about him. He's averaging more than 11 yards a carry right now. And more importantly, we had questions about their defense because their defense graduated really heavy, especially at high-profile spots. But I would say that this game between Richmond Randall and Iowa Colony figures to be the game of the week. And you can watch it live for free on Dave Campbell's Texan Live and on our YouTube page. There it is. My top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. Which one of these games are you most excited about? Let us know in the comments.